You get thrown out of the game. God, you're gone. But you're not gone. Now, I've heard different variations. Was it Oral Hershiser or Robin Ventura who convinced you to come back on the bench in disguise?
Well, I think Oral originally came up and said, you got to get out there. Or he said, I'll be your runner. I'll be your runner. And, to be a runner from the Met clubhouse down the stairs and the runway underneath the stands, the message would get there late. So I said, hey, let them just take care of it. And he said, well, the coaches don't really know the team. They've only been there for 3 or 4 days at the time. We had a new coaching staff change there in June. And so then Robin came up and he said, go on down there and put on these glasses. And he threw me his sunglasses. And then he, threw me a hat that wasn't a Met hat. And he said, take off your jersey. And I took off my jersey. I just had a black T-shirt on. Then I went into the training room and I looked in the mirror and the glasses and the hat just weren't getting it. So, I took one of the stickers that the guys usually put underneath their eyes and put it underneath my nose, and then took another one of the black stickers and put it underneath my nose. And I looked at them and they said, they'll never know.
But they did know.
Yeah, so I went down there, Jay, to add a little levity. And even John Olerud, who I talked to yesterday on the phone, who looks great, who's one of my favorite guys in the whole world, even John Stoic Olerud looked and saw me and kind of giggled. So the tension of getting thrown out and the tension of the situation of that 99 season was broken with levity, and the mustache lives on.
Jay Horwitz here. Happy to announce we have 3 new additions to the Mets Hall of Fame. Bobby Valentine, Lee Mazzilli, Carlos Beltrán. We'll be doing podcasts with each of the guys in the next week or two. The first one is going to drop today. The great Bobby Valentine, who was the first manager to manage as a back-to-back postseason appearances. It was a big factor in leading the recovery of the Mets in New York City in 9/11. So hope you enjoy the 3 podcasts. Thanks, guys. Jay Horwitz, a special edition of Amazing Conversation with my good friend, Mr. Bobby Valentine. Bobby, it's kind of a backwards way of getting into this. I've never known a guy who did so many things in his life. The greatest high school football player in Connecticut history, a champion ballroom dancer, have a building dedicated, Sacred Heart University named after you. And a scale of 1 to 10, the latest honor, being inducted to the Mets Hall of Fame with Carlos Beltrán and your good friend Lee Mazzilli. Where does that rank?
It's number 1, Jay, and talking with you makes it even more special. Yeah, when I heard that, Jay, it's the pinnacle. I mean, what more can I say? I've been in this racket for a long time. I've known you for ages now, decades, and to talk to you about it, to hear it from the Cohens, and to be honored with so many great people, people that I've been with for the last 50 years of my life, basically. To think that I'm going to be with them in the hall is the most special thing that could ever happen.
Did you tell me, Bobby, you were a context coach or played with practically everybody in the Hall of Fame? I mean, not everybody, but most everybody.
Well, it's crazy, Jay. Yeah. In 68, I was drafted. The Mets had the number 1 draft. I wanted to be the number 1 draft choice. I wasn't. I was the 5th. I got drafted by the Dodgers. In 1969, I played in my first game. I played against the 69 Mets. From there, I got traded to the Mets on probably the worst day in Mets history, on June 15th.
Where Tom Seaver goes bye-bye and Bobby Valentine comes.
Tom Seaver and Dave Kingman, and I got traded for Dave Kingman. And so the people weren't very happy about that, but I got to play for Joe Torre and play with Lee Mazzilli and play with so many of the great ones. And then, I got to coach in the minor leagues, manage in the minor leagues, coach in the major leagues, manage in the major leagues. And during that time, I either played against, coached, or managed 98% of the people
That's
on
great.
the list, everyone except for the announcers, Joan Payson, some of the other owners. It's
But
amazing.
Bobby, how much fun is it going with Maz? I know you and Lee are close friends. I mean, is it making it special going in with somebody like Maz?
Well, when I got to the Mets in 1977, Maz was the man. He was the Italian
He
stallion.
was Derek
Willie,
Jeter before Derek Jeter, wasn't he?
oh, he was so hot. It was unbelievable, Jay. Willie Mays left, and Lee Mazzilli came in, and he was making basket catches in center field like Willie Mays. He was a switch hitter. He was the best looking dude in the world. He could run like the wind, he could hit it over the fence. Yeah, he was the dude.
Yeah. Let me bore you with some numbers, Bobby. In 7 years as a manager, 536 wins, 534 winning percentage, 1997, 88 wins, 98, 88 wins, 99, 97 wins, 2000, 94 wins. Which, before you came, we had a decade long of not being relevant. The first year you came up in 96, a couple of games. How were you able to turn it around so quickly to get the program going in the right direction?
It was all about players, players, and players. And, and the fans who wanted it so badly that, I got hired by Fred Wilpon, and he said, "Hey, this isn't a seasonal job. This is a 12-month a year job." And I said, "I'm in it to win it." And I was there for 12 months. I did everything I can to bring credibility and strength and quality to the organization by working hard, by putting in as many hours as I can, by learning as much as I can about the players and the game, and doing everything that I guess I was meant to do and make it a winner.
But Bobby, what you did? It always struck me. You took guys who were not the greatest players in the world, made them great players. Benny Agbayani, Rick Reed, the great Timo Perez, Matt Franco. These were not superstars, but under your guidance, they all made great contributions along the way. What was the success to unlocking those keys?
Well, one that they knew that I cared, and when they know that you care, then they kind of follow you and do what needs to get done. And I threw batting practice to the guys who weren't playing every day of those 7 years with the Mets. When we were on the road, there was an hour of batting practice, and the guys who were not in the starting lineup and I were out there taking batting practice. And that was bonding time. That was a time to get to know you and to make sure that they knew that I was with them 100% of the way.
But let me say this. Right now, you work for the Angels, doing some broadcasting and advisory work. But still, when you come back to Citi Field, whether it's for an alumni game or an appearance, you get probably the biggest hand of anybody on the field. The people love you. I mean, you've been gone almost more than 20 years in an official capacity. Why do you think that is?
Because the New York Met fans get it. They know that I was just there for them, that I was there to do everything I can to make it happen, to make them happy, to make them stand and cheer and make them proud. And, we put together a product that they could be proud of. We fell short in that 2000 World Series, no doubt about that. But they know every year we were up against the Atlanta Braves. And then in 97, my second full year, they started that interleague stuff when we had to play the Yankees not once but twice during the season. And those are all special games, but those are also special teams that we were trying to beat. And I think the fans appreciated the effort.
But Bobby, let me see one game in particular that probably endeared you to fans more than anybody. June of '99, we're playing the Blue Jays. There's an interference call on a great catch at Mike Piazza. You got and argue. You get thrown out of the game. God, you got, but you're not gone. Now, I've heard different variations. Was it Oral Hershiser or Robin Ventura who convinced you to come back on the bench in disguise?
Well, I think Oral originally came up and said, "You got to get out there," or he said, "I'll be your runner. I'll be your runner." And to be a runner from the Met clubhouse down the stairs and the runway underneath the stands, the message would get there late. So I said, "Hey, let him just take care of it." And he said, "Well, the coaches don't really know the team. They've only been there for 3 or 4 days at the time. We had a new coaching staff change there in June." And so then Robin came up and he said, "Go on down there and put on these glasses." And he threw me his sunglasses. And then he, threw me a hat that wasn't a Met hat. And he said, "Take off your jersey." And I took off my jersey. I just had a black T-shirt on. Then I went into the training room and I looked in the mirror, and the glasses and the hat just weren't getting it. So, I took one of the stickers that the guys usually put underneath their eyes and put it underneath my nose, and then took another one of the black stickers and put it underneath my nose. And I looked at them and they said, "They'll never know."
But they did know.
Yeah, so I went down there, Jay, to add a little levity. And even John Olerud, who I talked to yesterday on the phone, who looks great, who's one of my favorite guys in the whole world, even John Stoic Olerud looked and saw me and kind of giggled. So the tension of getting thrown out and the tension of the situation of that 99 season was broken with levity, and the mustache lives on.
But Bobby, in 2000, we didn't win. We won 94 games, fall a little short to a great Yankee team. I think we lost 4 games by 5 runs. Do you feel in a way, this 25th anniversary of that team, a little disrespected, not remembered greatly because we didn't win? I mean, that was a great team. We were swept through the playoffs, and we had Benny's famous home run against the Giants, Bobby Jones's one-hitter that year. I mean, looking back, do you feel maybe it should have got a little bit more credit than we got in history books?
Well, it was a National League pennant, and you should get credit for that. I know there's a flag flying for that. But, it broke so many hearts. People lived for that day, Mets against the Yankees and in the World Series. And a lot of hearts were definitely broken. So I think they remember it. I don't think they want to cheer for it, because they'd be cheering for something that is a sad memory for them.
What do you remember about Robin's Grand Slam single in 1999 against the Braves?
I think it was one of the greatest games I ever participated in. The fans were spectacular. We're there in the 15th inning. Shea Stadium was rocking.
It was rocking.
Remember, the stands were literally rocking, and people were standing and screaming and yelling for the entire time. No one left. It was in the rain. And he hit that ball, and it was over the fence, and guys were over the railing of the dugout before Robin touched first base. And the rest of the story is that he got tackled before he got to second base. And it was a Grand Slam single, but Robin was spectacular with the bases loaded, and just a spectacular person and player to have on a baseball team.
Bobby, one of my favorite trips in 2000, we went to Japan, and we had Benny's pitch at Grand Slam in the Tokyo Dome. I mean, I speak to a guy who's got a beer named after him in Japan. Correct me if I'm wrong, the only American manager to win a Japanese baseball title in Japan, correct?
Well, it was the first. I was the first ever to go there, and I have a street name for me in Japan,
and a beer named after.
And a beer for a while there. That was named after me too, because I drank quite a few of them. But Japan was a spectacular part of my life, and opening up that 2000 season there. And, we had an extended roster because we were playing in Japan. And that's the reason that Benny was there, because he was going to get cut if it wasn't an extended roster. And I wanted to keep him, and some other people didn't want to keep him. He came, he hit the Grand Slam. We beat the Cubs in game 2 of the 2000 series, and he stayed with the team and had a lot of big hits the rest of that season too.
Bobby, I know the baseball part of it is probably why you're getting into the Hall of Fame, but for me, equally as important is what we did together in 9/11. In the next year, it's 25 years. I mean, you invigorated the whole team, the whole city. And like I said, when I die and put something on my tombstone, it would be part of the 2001 Mets because I'll never forget under your leadership and the guys on the team what we did for the city. It's something I'll always treasure.
Let's get it right, Jay. It was under your leadership.
No, well,
I followed you,
no,
Jay.
well,
You never stopped. I was managing a team, and you were managing me, and it was a spectacular effort that we made to heal a wound that we hope will never occur in our country again. Ah, gosh, and to think to go into the Hall of Fame on the 25th
isn't that crazy?
of
Isn't that
9
crazy?
11. I think it is. It's some kind of message, and I'm receiving the message well.
I remember we were in Pittsburgh on 9/11 getting the news. We took a bus ride to a small hotel, and I just can't believe it's been 25 years. We were so blessed to have on our team the guys who got it. You know, the Todd Zeals, the Francos, the Lighters, the Vance Wilsons, the Fonzies, the Venturas. You know, we used to, before we played the infamous game on the 21st with Mike's home run, we would work out in the morning, load the truck in the afternoon. What do you remember most about those days, Bobby?
Well, I remember most that I saw a bunch of people who wore uniforms and usually were the recipients of the money and adulation and gifts from other people. I saw a bunch of guys who were givers, who wanted to give, and we couldn't give enough, obviously, but everyone lined up. The first day back, everyone gave their paycheck to and started funds that became renowned in the area for the victims. Everyone gave their time. Everyone gave their love, their hugs, their energy. I thought it was one of the most spectacular group efforts without a script, without a preparation.
We never prepared for this before. Exactly.
No one knew what they were supposed to do other than try to do good. And golly gee, we did a lot of good.
So September 21st, 2001, bottom of the eighth inning, we're losing by a run to the Braves. Steve Carsey's pitching. What were you thinking when Big Mike came up to the plate?
That whole day was a blur, Jay, as it was for you. We worked 24/7 for those 10 days prior, and there were so many other things on our mind. And what we wanted to do is have that event, that game, to be special. And we didn't know if it was right or wrong to be playing it, right? We didn't know if it was right or wrong to be playing it in New York, but we were out there. We were ready to do it. We were giving it. And by the eighth inning, my thoughts were, we can't let the people down. Please, Mike, do something special. You're the superhero. And as superheroes usually do, he came to the forefront. And boy, the sound of that bat, the home run, and the sound of the stadium lives on forever.
I still tear up when I see it, Bobby, to be honest with you.
It was it was a script made in heaven.
Bobby, speaking of scripts, sometimes we follow, don't follow. One time, I don't want to mention any names. You called me in my office one day right after and said, we got a problem. A friend of mine died and in the attacks, and he wants to be buried in the bullpen. So we went out. I don't know if you remember the one day we went out with the ashes and buried the guy in the bullpen at Shea Stadium. And that was it. We there were rules to be broken. Sometimes we broke the rules a little bit, right?
Well, a season ticket holder, a really good friend, the guy who he and his kids saw their last game together in the All-Star game in 2001, just weeks prior to 9/11. In Seattle as my guest on the field. And when the request from the family came, their season tickets were there in left field to have some of his ashes left at Shea Stadium, even though it was against the rules.
We didn't tell anybody, Bobby.
Oops. We did what we had to do,
Yeah,
Jay.
yeah, we're tough. Well, listen, it's a great honor. 536 wins. Gave his heart and soul to his team as a player and a coach. And what you did off the field is probably not going to be duplicated. And I think it's so fitting next year, the 25th anniversary of 9/11. You get to be honored too. And it's just proud to be your friend in all these years. Look forward to seeing you again.
Jay, I thank you. I thank the entire Meta organization, Steve and Alex. I thank all those players who I've been involved with and coaches. And I thank the fans. It's the honor of my life. Thank you.
Well deserved, Bobby. Well deserved, my friend. Thanks for your
Thanks.
time. And I'll see you soon, huh?
See you, man.
Okay.